Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tuesday edition of Club TopShot. We have a very good show for you tonight. Our pal JonBoy Beats, a data analyst who covers DFS and TopShot, is going to be joining us in a bit. Jack, MBL, and myself here at the top. We got lots to cover. The Knights of Degen are dropping soon. We got continued NFT craziness, although a little bit of a bear market. So we'll talk you guys all through it after the jump. Damian, you can retire. Let's call up Steve Kerr right now. Tell him you're done. 3-on-2 game.
Oh, I'm an incredible basketball player. Awful shooter. Awful shooter.
Nasty jumper.
Would he ever gamble on shooting?
Here we go.
Me.
We got John lighting up again.
On that note, let me go.
All right. Club TopShot going up on a Tuesday.
Love. All right. What is up, guys? Jack Settleman, MBL. I believe Andy has some kind of crypto conference going on this week. Peter didn't give us an excuse. He just sent his usual doctor's note that says doing everything he can. Jack, how we doing?
Good. We just got breaking news. Jerry Ferrara, aka the Turtle, has officially joined the Knights of Degen team. So that's exciting.
Send him the link. Send Turtle the link to get on the show.
I'm going to. I think I'm gonna send it to him.
100%.
Of course. Besides that, Ravens got a win. And Top Shot's back. It's dead. NFTs are dead. I'm broke. Andy's got to be broker. Things are good though.
Mike, how we doing? The business maven over there. You weren't sure you're going to be able to make it tonight. You're moving and shaking, but you made it.
Yeah, things are happening, but I always try to carve out the time. This is important and near and dear to my heart. I'm holding up okay in this bear market because Top Shot's kind of stable right now, and I'm 99% Top Shot, 1% anything else. I'd imagine Andy has sold his new home at this point and is thinking about moving onto the streets, and maybe why he's not with us tonight.
I think Andy's going to be just fine. I mean, he posted how many squiggles does Andy own?
Are the squigs up? Are the squigs up? I saw
the squigs had a few big sales today. It's a good sign.
Okay.
Do you own any squiggles, NBA?
I was excited. I finally acquired a squig exposure. Yeah, I finally acquired a portion of a squiggle at the top, of course. But
dude,
I'm in the squig game.
You should change your profile picture to a fraction of a squig. It'd be a good bet.
That's
just smart.
Yeah. That's smart.
Yeah.
What's going on in the chat? The chat is stoked on Turtle. Belair wants to move CSU from the intro.
Valid. It's valid. Belair knows what's up.
Oh, there was confusion about this, Mike. There was a drop yesterday called floaties.
I know. I've been conscious of this for some time. Our lawyers have advised we do not make comments on it.
Make a comment. Why is this?
I hope that the floaty founders just rug the shit out of everyone that minted, and then everyone starts making 20 tweet threads about you.
So I was tempted to mint one.
No comment, Mike. No comment.
No comment.
Wow.
No comment.
How serious, like, normally this kind of, being this reserved, you would think you were under some kind of PR crisis. I mean, it's just a shitty mint project. No one's going to remember in 2 days, Mike.
I received far more DMs than sounds like you'd imagine. I got a lot of DMs.
All right. Mike cannot go on the record about the other.
Yeah, I'm off the record.
So yeah, what else, Jack? What else is going on with the Knights of Degen here? I mean, our mint passes, we ready to cash those in or what?
Yeah, we're finally ready to cash in. Tonight at midnight, we're going live. The link will be in the Discord. The one disclaimer, so that no one gets rugged: the mint pass is good for one night, and then the option to mint 2 more at the OG mint price, which is 0.0888 ETH. And with the price of ETH, that's like $4 right now. if you don't do that all in one transaction, your mint pass will like whatever burn or whatever. So if you're planning on getting 1 or 2 more, make sure you do it the same transaction. It'll be on the site. It's very clear how to do it, but that's just the one thing to throw out. So it's 48 hours, starts at midnight tonight, goes till whatever, Thursday, 11:59 p.m. So that you can do it whenever gas is low. And then there'll be a public mint depending on how many are left in a week or a little over a week. And then we're off and running. And Turtle just joined the team.
And so what is Turtle? What's his capacity? What's his title here?
He tweeted it out. It's not the head of knighting like it should have been, probably.
No, come on. Someone has to workshop better names.
I know.
Egregious.
Yeah, it's terrible. What is it? The community building and content advisor? Like, come on, people.
That's his name. That's what you give Turtle's title.
It's horrible. I wasn't involved in that naming process. I'll start calling him something else by a weekend to the job, but he's on the team. That's exciting, and he's been in the NFT space, so it's fun to have him a part of it. Look at Clay in the chat, shamelessly putting an exclamation point. Clay, it's a horrible title. Let's be honest.
Come on, guys. Go back to the drawing board about this one. I mean, seriously, imagine Vinny Chase turning to Turtle and saying, "This is my community building and content advisor." No, come on, guys.
All right,
it should have nothing to do with what he actually does.
Of course,
the title.
not. Of course not.
Jack, I have a question for you. After this Mint Pass process is complete, is the Mint Pass NFT itself meant to retain any value? Will there be any utility tied to it, or is it just a torn ticket or something? What happens?
I know we discussed this. I don't know where we landed, but the idea, I mean, we want it to stay alive, but I think we have to change OpenSeas anyways, because they only let pre-sales. They don't let it turn into the actual. So there'll actually be a different OpenSea page. So I doubt it'll hold a ton of value, but I think it would be cool if it does. I mean, it's not like you can just throw it away anyways. Like, it's just going to sit in your account, I'm pretty sure. But I would not go scooping up burned mint passes.
Is that financial advice?
That is financial advice. Look, I could be wrong, but I don't.
Not, or you would not.
I would not. And it's funny. The people in the Discord, in the Club NFT channel, which is now Club FUD, because they are down tremendously.
They're having a rough day.
Yeah, they're having a rough day. But they thought I was fudding the entire Knights project, because I was explaining to them, like, I expect the price to go down. You know, these are essentially a 3-for-1, and everyone's like, he's fudding his own project. I'm like, no, I'm just being honest. Like, the expectation is if 3 are minted for the price of 0.34, that the new price will be about 0.12 ETH. And everyone was cracking up. They're like, he's too honest. I'm like, I'm not going to lie to you guys.
I think it was because you were on Twitter a few hours before making fun of people selling their mint passes, and then you were in the Discord saying that they should be based on the math.
Well, how
should we think? Shouldn't you be adding 0.18 roughly to the mint pass price?
No,
and then divide by 3?
Yeah,
but for each of them.
Yeah. Yes, for 2 of them.
You have to pay for 2 of them.
Yeah,
it should be mint pass plus
they should be
divided by 3. That's our price.
Plus gas. Yeah. No, they should be 0.16, 0.17. But I was saying, like, do the math. And it wasn't even my math. Someone else did the math. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. If you guys want to sell one off, like, that's fine. Of course, I'm going to make fun of people who are selling, because 61% of Mint Pass holders only have one, which means the people I was making fun of, there was a 6 in 10 chance that they sold their only one, which is NGMI, as the kids are saying these days.
What is the vibe you're getting for Mint Pass holders right now? Has this reached your Snapchat audience? Are they aware of the Knights yet?
Everyone wants me to pump it on Snapchat.
Well, I mean, why do you
your job?
Jack for if you're not pumping it on Snapchat?
Yeah.
Listen.
Let's be real, Jack.
Listen. So, all right, I'll say this: it has not been pumped on Snapchat, so I guess that's a positive sign. How much of the total addressable market is into, like, my Snap audience is probably similar to like where a lot of Gary V's audience was at, which would take a lot of educational content, which would take a lot of, right? So it's not to say it's not a roadmap. And there's some stuff coming down the line that's going to make a lot more sense to kind of pair the two. But no, I have not posted, hey, come mint this. I'm part of the project yet.
Because you don't want to deal with those DMs asking.
No, it's just not the time for it. And I've said this. I mean, I was saying in the Discord too. Like, I'm cool with the slow build. I think everything that the problem with a lot of these profile picture projects, which we're not, is they try and do everything to get pumped and meet a hype cycle. And like Apes are literally the only one that successfully ridden like an insane hype cycle into a roadmap. Like they just released a legitimate roadmap today. So we're thinking of it. The team is building it like a startup, and I'm very conscious of like, I understand we need to keep the floor at a certain price because price is a conscious part of NFTs and all that. But like it does no good to just kind of do a TopShot div, which is like, pump the shit out of it and then you crush 80% of the audience.
You mentioned the Bored Ape stuff, and I wanted to ask Mike something because there was a couple conversations that popped up today. I saw a tweet from Andy kind of asking a question: do you think Punks would ever get flipped as the main profile pick? And then I believe it was Moonlord or someone, I can't keep track of these, said something about, Larva Labs sitting on the sideline when Bored Apes releases another kind of roadmap initiative, and wondering if that's going to bury them. And Mike, you had thoughts on that. I'm curious, where are you at on that right now? Because Larva Labs is a really interesting one in comparison to some of these projects that are really putting out thoughtful roadmaps.
Yes. So first, my takeaways from Jack's commentary are, first, it's great to have a young Gary V on the show with us.
I see Ryan in the chat. I mean, I'm used to it at this point. Whatever you say, whatever you say is going to be used against you.
It's really fantastic. And my question for you is, if you were to post something on Snapchat, would people ape? Is that the kind of audience?
No,
could you just say, buy this financial advice, and people would jump, or that there would be follow-up questions?
Correct. That's part of it. Like I said, you would need to come out with educational. Like, I've been doing this for 4 years. It's the same stuff with Underdog. Like, the reason we booked a full year deal with Underdog was so that on day one, it's not just like, all right, here's best ball, right? Like, I need to teach people what best ball is. I need to teach myself what best ball is. I need
to the own joke.
Like, and so I think there's stuff, and like I said, there's stuff that's going to come down the line that's going to make a lot more sense to kind of pair that with the sports audience. Now, there are some people on my personal Snapchat, which has 187,000 followers, that I do know have bought, and I've posted about there, but that's a little more, I post about NFTs more there. But I'm starting to break it in with like OBJ's profile picture, Steph Curry's profile picture, and just getting people aware of it. It's like I said, it's a slow build. You can't explain how to buy ETH, transfer it to MetaMask, store your seed phrase, ape into this, mint this. What is a preset, right? Like, you just can't do that on that platform in a short period of time. So to answer your question, no, they wouldn't just ape in, but for a first project, we priced it accordingly, and we have some of the true NFTers in there, but also the reason why 60% of holders only hold one is because it is their first NFT and they are getting their feet in the water. So I feel comfortable, eventually getting more people in.
I have so many follow-up questions, but I want to answer Pete's question. And we have 15 minutes until JonBoy arrives. All right, I'll ask one
of my... I love watching Mike's just kind of like his brain. It just fucking
works. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'll answer the question first, and we'll see where it goes. Okay, so I kind of view Punks as a very, very different category from Bored Apes and a lot of these other profile picture projects. They are. I think Carlini wrote something along these lines, and I sort of saw eye to eye with that comment.
Never give him credit, but yes, I saw his response. It was smart.
Love Carlini.
We're gonna get him. We got to get him on the club here soon.
Yeah, I think Punks they have historical significance. They're an artifact in a sense of compare them to essentially the hieroglyphics of NFTs before. It's just kind of proof of concept. Here it is, and that in and of itself is a really compelling story for me as a collector. And I think part of the appeal of punks and part of what punks have always stood out to me as is I can explain this to someone who's not in the NFT world and they can understand why this is worth something in like 10 seconds. And like some people might be like, oh, it's silly, it's an avatar, but they understand, they've heard of NFTs and they get the concept of the kind of pioneering project of something that's now a much more significant industry. And that concept resonates with people. It kind of translates to art and to items from history, artifacts, and anything along those lines. And I think punks very much fall under that category. I don't think Larva Labs needs any sort of additional utility for punks or a roadmap or a club in Miami or anything like that. The story stands on its own. And that's what I said in response to Moonlord's comment. As a Meebit holder, I do think Meebits need a little more help. I think Meebits they don't have that same story that punks do. And so the question is kind of what gives Meebits value? Is it enough that it's the same two dudes who made punks? Is it just kind of anything they touch is gold? Autoglyphs do have a story. They're generative art, they're on-chain, it's kind of the first of its kind. Meebits don't have any of that. There's nothing really unique or special about them. And so the question is kind of what happens here, and can Larva Labs be hands-off and kind of depend on the community to build around it, and Meebits DAO and other developers and other creators? And I think maybe, but as a Meebits holder, I would prefer Larva Labs to get their hands dirty on this one, to come out with a Larvaverse or whatever you're going to call it, and make it worthwhile holding Meebits. Whereas I don't think punks need that in any way, shape, or form.
And I think there's a difference too between it's not fudding punks to say, they don't have active stuff. Like they are going to continue to be a blue chip, but I also don't think it's crazy to say a project that continuously brings value through inventive ways, through a really sick roadmap with a really smart team, couldn't flip it. And that's not mutually exclusive with punks cratering. Like that's just saying a project could become a juggernaut.
I didn't answer your actual question there. So I do think theoretically one could, and if the right team comes along and builds a project that has 500 membership passes or 500 profile pictures, it's a hard comparison. Is it a unit price? Is it a market cap kind of thing? If there is a 100 unit project and that thing has an 120 Ethereum floor, is that considered flipping punks? There's all these kind of nuances to it. But yeah, I think it's possible. It's kind of a different category of things. I would be kind of surprised, but in most betting things, you're better off taking the field than any specific project. So it's probably a good bet to bet something will pass punks at some point.
I think something will pass punks for sure. I don't think that's crazy to say. Like if you own the first piece of art ever created, I don't think that would be necessarily the most valuable thing, on Earth today. Like you guys said, if another project adds value consistently, and I just want to point out that it's actually dangerous for people to want these companies or these projects to be involved. Like we've always talked about holding punks. It's like, we love that Larva actually doesn't do anything with them because then nothing will change. But if they started making decisions, right? Like when they licensed the IP, that's when everyone's like, oh shit, like we don't want anything like that. We want them to be like this. And the Bored Ape stuff, like they've done great to date, but like, who are these founders? Who are the devs? Who are the creators? Do you actually trust them to run an entire business, to continually scale this thing, grow this thing? What experience do they have in that field? And I think the team that does come around and offers an insane amount of value and partners with Fortnite and the metaverse, and then they're partnered with Oculus, then absolutely someone's going to pass. But I definitely don't think that it's like punks or apes, and apes are the ones that are going to flip. It's someone way down the line. And way down the line, NFTs can mean 6 months, 12 months, 18 months.
But that said, I will say, I mean, apes have done everything right. And they continue to, like, there's no reason to think that they couldn't continue on this category. Because, like, all those things you mentioned, like, I feel like they're checking off those boxes as they go.
Absolutely. It's so rare that, like, the first challenger that comes around is going to be the one that actually supersedes it, right? It's going to be the one who watches their mistakes whenever they do make a mistake, right? Like people were upset about the mutants, and everyone's always going to be upset about something, but like it's why TopShot is vulnerable to a degree. You can see if someone took the license and didn't increase the supply and did like that's why Uber usurped taxis, and it's why all these newer companies always are going to beat out the old ones.
Mike, do you ever think, I know they're under lock and key in the family vault, but do you ever think about your investments from like a hedge standpoint of maybe not even wanting to sell a CryptoPunk, but if you could snap your fingers without the tax liability and turn it into two Bored Apes as a way to diversify your portfolio and hedge against an ape flippening, is that something that crosses your mind?
So my approach has always been have kind of a narrow focus and go really, really, really deep on things. And like that's kind of what I've done with TopShot and Punks, and get really comfortable with the story and then go hard at it, like really, really hard. And I still feel what attracted me to Punks initially, which took me a while to get around to be honest. But I did get there eventually. That story holds up for me. And so there's nothing about what's happened that changes the story for me from a Punks standpoint. The Bored Apes thing, do you mean Bored Apes specifically or another project that isn't Punks?
No, I was using Bored Ape specifically because they, that first mover, I mean, not in this specific sense, but just as being the first legit contender to Punks, like I think you have to take notice of that.
Yes, I think the kind of track record of Punks of having been around for 4 years, been through up cycles and down cycles, and being held by some of the best quote unquote diamond hands in the industry who have owned these things from the time they were $45 to the time they're worth millions and millions of dollars. I think that track record of owners can't really be replicated by a project that's 4 months old, regardless of what they've accomplished so far. We haven't really seen what happens with Apes in a difficult market setting. Jack, you posted something that I think is a meaningful thing and upsets all the apes, but it's the case. The most exciting thing about Bored Apes right now is the price goes up. And someone else posted a comment saying, if you told an ape owner the price of your ape will never go up again for the rest of your life, is the membership of this community that everyone talks about, is that worth what your ape is worth? Or is this kind of all fun and games, but really we're all just trying to make money here? And we don't know. We don't know what happens because we haven't really seen a stagnant market or a down market that extends more than a week or something, or 2 weeks. And I'm curious to see how the holders react to an actual challenging financial time. Are they that excited about the community, or are they that excited about just number go up?
But I think that's actually tough to untangle, because part of number go up has been them doing these airdrops and giving back.
Yeah, but all of this is only worth it's kind of circular. It's not worth anything because number goes up. Like the dogs, what are the dogs? The dogs are only worth something because number goes up.
Right.
But there's every single mint project or tons.
All right, let me put it this way: the same exact team with the same day one roadmap that everyone points back to today took more than a week to mint. So what happened between the mint period when everyone rejected the project and now that everyone suddenly thinks the developers are geniuses, the initial roadmap was genius, that if you could go back in time, it was an obvious thing to mint it? What actually happened aside from just ongoing price increases?
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, but there's clearly differences from a bunch of these other
I think the team has executed well. I don't think the team would have had an opportunity to execute if the price didn't go up. No one would have cared. It required
no one did care.
Yeah, it required some combination of things. I don't know what. It's really difficult to replicate. If I could understand exactly what happened, I would be a very wealthy individual and be able to do this many, many times over. I don't know what it required to happen. Whether it was frankly minting 1,000 of them, where it was the right influencer just deciding we want this project to work, whether it was like some celebrity got their hands on it, some combination of things happened that I think was independent of the developers doing something super, super, super special. And then as a result of the momentum that came along with it, this community built up. And like Penelope, Carlini's done a great job, but absolutely when the price goes up, the community is stronger. The community is louder. They're more vocal on Twitter. That's a consistent theme across TopShot, across Punks, across anything else.
Anything.
Anything. And with that momentum comes additional people looking at it. People kind of the same way everyone hates Dapper, but the reality is price went down, so people upset. Everyone loves Bored Ape developers because price went up.
Yeah, the only thing I'll push back on is I would just say how you're coming, and I've been like not a big ape guy, so I feel funny kind of playing this other side of the coin, but I feel like how you're categorizing it is almost like they just hit lightning in a bottle and it could have been any project.
I feel that way.
See,
what did they do that was so special?
No,
I mean,
so
now they've done some things, but it required a ton of royalties to fund all this crap.
Right, but I'm saying like the whole thing about, you know, people who are successful and everyone says they get lucky. It's like successful people put themselves in a position to get lucky over and over, and they capitalized.
What was their differentiating factor?
Yeah, I want to know if we go back to day one, knowing what we know now. What could you look at in that project that says, that's what they did? I don't think there's an answer.
I mean, I don't know about the week one stuff,
Yeah.
but I feel like
I've had this conversation with lots of people. I'm yet to hear an answer.
I mean, yeah, I literally don't know about week one, but I can tell you that they've nailed branding, they've nailed community, they've nailed outreach and partnerships. Like they have hit, I mean, you can listen to Deez do his fractional things. Like how much of it is about vibes? Like Bored Ape has nailed the vibe with their merch, with the people they're working with.
What came first though, the money or the vibe? Doesn't the vibe came after the price?
No, I'll push back on that. Like I do think that they kind of, at least maybe it wasn't even the devs though who did it. Like the community was like, I still remember the follow an ape thing, and that was absolutely a thing. But I think that they caught lightning in a bottle, and then they crushed it. It's almost like they stumbled into Tom Brady, and then they were like, oh, fuck, like we have the best player in the world. Yeah. Like we're going to figure it all out.
In my analogy for that is the Patriots front office knew what to look for when selecting, you know, their late round quarterbacks. Like it's hard to fully detach luck.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. I think they got fortunate to have the opportunity for their skill set to shine through. I don't think that what they did in the early going necessarily earned them that opportunity, but they did capitalize on the opportunity. And I think the project today is somewhat. How bad is my mic, by the way? Everyone's talking.
It's pretty bad. It sounds like it's on your headphone mic. It doesn't sound like it's on your actual Yeti.
Let's see.
I'm just so beaten down from doing tech support that I just let it go.
It is. Better, worse?
It's still the same.
All right, whatever. It sounds like it's good enough. So I think they took advantage. They've done a good job with the opportunity, and they've from this point forward, I think it's a reasonable value proposition. I think that for a long part of the lifeline of Apes, it was kind of the excitement is about, like, okay, put it this way. How many times have we seen a tweet saying Bored Ape has changed my life after a sale of the product? What's changed your life is the money, not the experience, not the DMs you got from other people. It's the money you made from it. That's the most exciting part by far, not the community, not the connections you're making, not the network. It's the money and the fact that they handed you a dog that is also worth money for.
That's the same for every project.
That's our point. That's our point. Like, that's why Mike started by saying Meebits, they need help and they don't mean shit. And that's why, like, when I sold my Meebit, I'm like, thank you, Larva. But, like, I feel no attach, you know, I don't think they did anything special.
But that's the point. If it's the same for all projects, then they are clearly doing something different.
Yeah, but I think it's not the same for all projects. Like for me, example, which is why I'm very focused here. Punks have historical significance. There's a story there. Larva Labs was the first people to do this. They basically launched the NFT industry as we know it today, and that is true. Like there's no
which apes do now. Which apes do now.
No, apes.
But our point
declared apes number 2. What are they? Right. What makes them number 2 except for the fact their price did well?
But that is the story now, which I respect. Like I can acknowledge now why the price may be the price, but I'm still saying why would they take a week to mint? Like, what did they do special? I think it's the same for CryptoPunk. What did CryptoPunks do that was so special? Really, nothing. They just became the thing, and now they have an insane story.
That's why I compare them to hieroglyphics. It's not like not about the art. It's about like where in time it happened and what it launched and what came after that. And I think CryptoPunks fall into that category. Like one way I put it, I think I've said on the show before, is when the apes were at Sotheby's or Christie's or whatever they were at. What the hell did someone write on the placard? They're like, what is this? What are we looking at here? Why is this special? There's no answer.
Well, two things. One, I think we were in a completely different mint landscape when Bored Apes launched. Like they kicked off the like, holy shit, I don't want to miss out on the next Bored Ape. So I think you can throw out that it took a week to sell out a mint.
Yeah,
and two, when you rely on narratives, I agree with you from a macro perspective, the Cryptopunks, narrative is compelling, but narratives are subject to people's interpretation, and the interpretation for a lot of people who came into NFTs in January and February, Bored Apes is the first major NFT. That is the narrative they have told themselves. And that narrative has a powerful hold on large group of people.
But why? That's our point. Why was it that project versus anything
they missed
else?
out on, they weren't around for Cryptopunks, in a group of people
but that's the point. Is like they did kind of just, it wasn't anything, unless you can say it was the art, or maybe it was the day one vibe they set, but that's the point. It was a lot of really, really, really good timing, right? Like that's what we're acknowledging here.
Right.
And they've crushed it since. Absolutely. It's just like Mike is he's a huge believer in like, obviously what comes first and needs a strong story. And they have the story now. They have the narrative now. Absolutely.
I don't even know if I agree with that. What is the narrative now?
That they're the new.
They have like a good roadmap. That's it. So
they're the new fun community. They're the second to Punks. And look, just because they have it now doesn't mean it's going to last, right? It does need people to last. It does need probably.
I just still don't understand. I go back to what do I like about Punks that I could explain to my friend who's not in NFTs why Punks are valuable. You try and explain why Bored Apes are valuable to someone who's not in NFTs. I don't think that can work. Like, what do you say? You have 2 minutes to explain to someone why Bored Apes are valuable.
Because you could say, all I say is it's the first NFT that blew up after the NFT TopShot boom. In the same way you say.
So it's valuable because it's valuable?
Well, that's the same CryptoPunks. It's valuable because it
was CryptoPunks are valuable because it's the first of its kind that pioneered the industry.
That's not true, though. Anything's valuable because a group of people agree it's valuable. What about that fucking artist who just puts red paint on a thing? He wasn't first. His art's not cool. Yeah, like
I don't know who you're talking about, but I would probably not be a fan of that art either. I wouldn't say no one should be a fan of it. I'm just really saying I'm not. I don't understand personally. That doesn't mean it shouldn't exist or it shouldn't be worth anything. It should go to zero. I just don't understand what gives it value. The same way I don't understand why Jackson Pollock is valuable. Jackson Pollock's art. I don't understand why Bored Apes are valuable. Someone thinks they're valuable. I just don't.
Yeah, I just think you fall into a little bit of a logical trap if you're like, the narrative I buy into is more valuable than the narrative that this group of people
to me,
buy into.
I think the narrative
Mike,
I believe it's like a commonly accepted concept in collectibles.
But we always say that punks are first. Like, why? What about punks are first? I've actually never understood that.
So they're not the first NFT itself. They're the first.
That's my point. So what's the narrative?
I agree. It's the project that basically preceded the ERC 721 that kind of launched that NFT space.
But it's not that's our point. It's like the narrative just works for you, and a bunch of people agreed that's
I think these are reasonable questions, yes. But I don't think the fact that there are questions for punks means that Bored Apes are therefore valuable because there are 100% questions for punks. I'm more comfortable with those questions than I am for Bored Apes, where I don't think there's any answers.
But you're questioning what's the narrative, what's the explanation? What's the explanation for punks? Because they are not first.
So I think I'd love to have that conversation, but the fact that, let's say I can't answer that. Let's just go with it. I can't answer that question. Fine. Why does that mean Bored Apes are therefore valuable? I want to know why Bored Apes are valuable, not why punks aren't valuable.
Because they have their own narrative, and people agree.
Well, what is the narrative?
Pete just explained it. It's the one if punks are BC, then these are AC, right? Like they're the ones that came after the big boom.
Yeah.
I'm Jewish. I don't fucking know. I was thinking Christ. I'm like, isn't it before Christ? And what is it, after death?
Yeah, I just think, Mike, when you
Latin
look at
shit, I don't know.
When you look at the special sauce recipe for successful NFT projects, it's a mixture, right? It's a composite of narrative and community and branding and influencers and all of it. And you might say CryptoPunks has a stronger narrative foundation than other projects, but there's still a lot of things that go into it. And that's how we got started on this debate is the kind of development side, how important is that to the overall recipe? And so I think Bored Apes has a recipe that can match CryptoPunks, even if their narrative isn't the strong point of that recipe.
There's shit that we're doing with Knights of Degen that I'm like, oh, that's going to make the IP valuable. When someone fucking major comes into this space and creates immense amount of values for holders, that's when you'll see a flipping. And it could be at a 10,000 level. Like, there's enough money to flip punks, absolutely. But it's early days.
This is This is, I think, a concise way to say my point. I think what Bored Apes, the value proposition, can be replicated time and time and time again. There's nothing that's like defining about it that can't be replaced. And whether or not Punks is like the number one first, it seems to be. I don't know. I think if you talk to Bored Ape owners, also it's the first meaningful NFT project. Definitely the first profile project. It seems like it's the first. I don't know, like the history.
All right,
of it.
here's
It's
a good
also the first like generative project. It's the first of.
Would you rather own the first Solana project or Bored Apes?
Bored Apes.
I mean,
I
Solana.
think because I think they're worth more. I'd like to hear more about the other stories.
Yeah, but I'm talking about.
Are you telling me, are they both worth $10 today and we'll see where it goes?
No, I'm saying current pricing. If the current Solana
I don't know what
USD is 50K and a Bored Apes 100K. Let's say.
I don't know what the Solana is, but if it came out in like 2016 and predated the commercial success of NFTs and people just kind of trying to mint and make money from it, and people actually being in it for the tech and all the things we joke about today, like that's when CryptoPunks actually came out.
Yeah.
Today, people are kind of in it to make a quick buck, and like this is the era where Bored Apes came out. So like, what if there's a better Bored Apes tomorrow or next month or the next? How does the Bored Apes story hold up to a newer and better development group that comes out with better projects and better roadmap and whatever else? There's nothing to fall back on.
But that's the exact same thing you say to CryptoPunks. What happens when a better profile picture with a better community and dev team come along? That's Bored Apes.
No, because CryptoPunks were still first.
But they're not. You just admitted they're not.
No, I don't know the exact technicalities, but I think they were the first like generative project or first avatar, whatever it is. They're the first of like something meaningful that the community has accepted as meaningful.
That's your point. They have accepted the narrative. And
no,
people have.
Yeah, but the narrative is something that can't be replaced.
All right, so what if
the narrative at Bored Apes is they're really good at like creating.
No, what if the narrative is they're the first? I mean, someone wrote in the chat, they're the narrative of, they're the first one to actually come out with a roadmap and look to add value.
Are they?
I mean, who knows? But like, if that's the narrative everyone agrees on.
I mean, I look at that. Then also, like, we can also step back to like real life world. Like, okay, these things are therefore worth $500,000 or whatever it is because their developers sort of had a plan on day one. That's what they did first. Not like 4 years before any of this was like known by more than 100 people.
What's Coca-Cola and Pepsi like? No one could replicate.
They're marketing machines.
There you go. I think Bored Apes is the best market. There you go.
Yeah, but I think Coke and Pepsi, like what they bring to the first of all, it's a very different comparison. One's a collectible, one's like definitely different because there's no like value.
Concept.
No, it's not the same concept because one of them has like an actual taste quality to it.
Yeah, I
think
just
think a product you buy. I don't think it's the same. But anyway, if Coke and Pepsi don't have anything that can't be replaced, then they can definitely be supplanted over time, and we've seen that time and time again in corporate America.
Yeah, I just think like if the only thing you're hanging, if the two things are like price is what makes people interested in this project, and then what are the things that make people interested in price? A group of people have decided the narrative of CryptoPunks being first has been what they hang their hat on for why that is valuable. And there's a whole nother new wave that have said this community, their marketing, their vibes, their branding is why I think this is worthy of the high price. Like, I don't think you can say one is better than other. Don't we want the market to decide? And the market has decided the Bored Apes are a legit project.
Was it the market that decided, or was it a bunch, like a group of a dozen influencers doing the quiet buy?
Isn't that the same for punks?
Don't more whales hold larger percentage of punks than whales hold percentage of apes?
I don't know, but
punks are cool because they've held it for
4 years.
That's not true at all. That is not true.
You can look at the history of it.
Really? There hasn't been an alien sale, zombie sales every week. There hasn't been, sure, some people have held, but there's a ton of new money that came into the project.
I guess what I'm saying is if we went back to when Bored Apes minted and they did everything in the exact same way, do we think Jack, similar to our conversation, which not the episode, we'll do another time. Do we think that how many times out of 100 do we think Bored Apes suddenly becomes the number 2 consensus project?
I'm with you. I think it was lightning in a bottle, but I don't think that is fair to then go and say there isn't an intrinsic value at this point in time.
No, I do think there is an intrinsic value now. My question is,
but you're saying why are they? No, because you just questioned why they're valuable. Like, it's very clear why they're valuable now.
I get why they're valuable today.
Yeah.
I want to know how we got here.
Let's bring on JonBoy. I can't afford either, so screw both projects. It is JonBoy, the data analyst maven. John, sorry for making you sit through that, but we're on a little bit of a roll. I had to let it run there.
No, I love it. I'm glad I could bring a little bit of facial hair into the club tonight.
Yeah.
I just shaved.
We're clean.
Trust me, I'm normally a full.
I got the barber shave today.
Do you have a take on this, John? I don't know if you own Cryptopunks Bored Apes. Do you have a dog in this race?
I have no dogs. The only thing I have is being in a couple discords when apes were minting and just not having any idea what it was and completely missing it. So that's all I'm at. I think I've messed around on fractional a little bit. I was in and out of a punk for a second, but just a TopShot guy and all these other failed NFTs.
So do you have it? I mean, you were listening to us go there. Do you have any thoughts on how you feel about this old school versus new school NFTs?
I mean, I think it's just kind of like an eye of the beholder thing. And I think I see, all of your guys' points, but there is a huge thing about being first and being the first thing that kind of started it all with the punks. But then at the same time, like, in my opinion, Apes has built the strongest community, and they're a very strong community, and they're what all these new like avatar projects aspire to be. That's kind of like, I mean, every Discord message you get from a new project coming out is, hey, this is going to be the next Bored Ape. And probably that's more of a, this has the potential to 100x or whatever. That's what people want to see. I just think it's a little bit like apples to oranges, in my opinion. Like, even though they're both, PFPs per se, I just think they're kind of on two different roadmaps. CryptoPunks is a little bit more like art, and Apes is a little bit more of like this kind of utility type, community type of thing.
Yeah, and it's fun. It makes me think of a Bales line. He talks about this with DFS strategy and like life stuff too, of like, don't try to beat everyone else at the same game. Try to win at your own game. And I think Bored Apes knows we can't beat CryptoPunks at the narrative game. They have the better narrative. So how can we beat them? With community, with branding, with our roadmap and stuff. And they are doing a great job playing their own game, even if they can't win the CryptoPunk narrative game.
Damon's chats are just unbelievable.
Damon's the same guy that has a burner, and I give him a little bit of leash.
No, he's normally trolling, but I don't like Peter Jennings' balance sheet. I think it's too risky. Is so good.
I'll end up blocking him later tonight.
But like until we get there, that is just an incredible line. So let's talk TopShot. What's going on in the TopShot street?
John,
I was on about an hour-long commute. I was on an hour-long commute home, and like two different things happened that are just out of control. My Discord's like going off right now.
Yeah,
wait, run it back. Wait,
WNBA run it back.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
And then now there's like a new Quest showcase challenge that just popped out for the top 7 plays of the year. That Anthony Edwards is going to the moon. DeAndre Ayton is going. Everything's it's just the classic. Get in and get the moments for the challenge.
The way Jacob did the tweet, he made it seem like we were going to get an NBA run it back announcement very soon as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the speculation is that this thing's going to tie into the 75th anniversary, and it's going to be like a huge,
but we got the Matumbo wag for that. I don't know if you saw that Jacob responded to PackRip with a Matumbo wag about it being connected to the 75-year thing. I think, if I interpreted that correctly.
Definitely, I haven't really heard much about like if they've picked a season or if it's going to be multiple seasons or whatever for the run it back. I mean, it seems like summer would have been the time to do it, or the off season, and the fact that they kind of keep pushing it off. not exactly sure what's up with that.
I also like because basically, no, this is what happened, right? Because TopShot said summer for Run It Back. Summer technically ends September 22nd. And Jacob, in his tweet, made a point of saying our first of 2 summer Run It Back announcements, which literally means it has to be announced within 24 hours.
Right. Alan shot that down a few weeks ago. He said, guys, just to be clear, summer is not the actual date on the calendar. It means this is the summer series or whatever it is. So the crazy thing is, though, we are like literally 32 days or something away from the start of the season. And they said that they are going to do Run It Back during the summer. If Series 3 doesn't coincide with opening night, that would feel a little weird.
Well, don't they need plays to happen first?
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But like, I feel like you would just want any summer series, any Run It Back, all the rake back to happen to lead into, I mean, they should be able to get opening night. Who's opening night? It's like, it's Nets Buck. Like a moment from that to kick off the series it shouldn't take more than a day, a week to start the series.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I like that.
So, John, where are your excitement levels here with some of these announcements coming? Obviously, we're arguing about profile picture projects. That has been the story for the past few months. Like, where is your kind of overall excitement level for TopShot as we are getting really close to the new season?
Yeah, I mean, I think just the performance of TopShot in this offseason is a little bit understated right now, I think. I mean, I know, there was that kind of big August run up that, in my opinion, had a lot to do with just people taking gains from crypto, from other NFTs, kind of moving them into TopShot. The Believers bot, I think, had a lot to do with it. Just kind of, there was a little bit of a hype cycle there that came through in August that really rejuvenated the market a little bit. And basically, like, just put a stop to anything that, as soon as the finals were over, everybody was like, oh, well, here comes the dog days of summer for TopShot. And it pretty much just didn't happen. And I think what I've been impressed with, or I guess what I've been happy to see, is it hasn't really dropped off. It hasn't gone in these huge swings. It's kind of leveled out a little bit. I mean, there's been little fluctuations and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's just been kind of pretty level after that initial run up in August. And I think that's pretty good. And I also appreciate that they've been taking a lot more of the just come out with announcements approach rather than like teasing stuff in office hours for 4 straight weeks. And then people start coming up with their own opinions. And then by the time you get to week 3, everybody's disappointed regardless of what actually comes out of it. It seems like they're taking a lot more of that approach of not really promising anything and just coming out with stuff. And I think that's just positive overall for sentiment.
I felt that way too, just lately, that it seems like they kind of have learned of, all right, let's stop over promising and under delivering, and let's start under delivering and over promising and under delivering. So yeah, I think they've turned that around. I don't know.
Which is like exactly what we were talking about before. It's the risk of having a team and a project and a roadmap. It's like, they said all these things, and I do think, I mean, they're going to make the game. They're going to put kiosks, but it's never going to happen at the NFT speed, which is why people left. And I think that's kind of where Mike and I are aligned. It's like, yeah, they built out a roadmap, but the roadmap was really the price just shooting up in a very short period of time. That's what attracts a lot of people. That's what got people into TopShot. It was a money-making opportunity. And then it comes down to where Larva Labs is staying out of it. Punks have their own story that don't need to be touched. Bored Apes needs to be maintained. They need the team to, it's the same with TopShot. Like, Noah, if TopShot died, TopShots don't represent what Cryptopunks did. You see it with MLB Champions, which Mike, I think, owns 57% of the supply at this point. But right, it's like you're kind of
story. I like the story.
I get that, but part of the downside in not having a team working on it or losing a license is like you kind of do need the narrative to catch. And I do like the narrative, but everyone knows my experience with the rap strikers. It's like, could that narrative catch one day, 10 years down the line? Absolutely. I'm going to hold on to that stuff. But it's like no one's actively really working on this. So you kind of do need narratives to catch. And fortunately, Dapper has fucking 100+ teams. They got 100+ people. They got teams building on Flow. They have their own blockchain. Like, it's a good project to bet on.
JonBoy, have you been in the WNBA streets? I've been having fun completing some of those showcases, and those seem to be doing well. And I assume the Run It Back drop on, when is it, Friday? I think that's going to be pretty popular.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really been collecting too much of the WNBA. I did do a couple of showcases just to kind of get some reps in, get it under my belt, get familiar with who some of these players are, and coming into NBA, you at least like know what's going on. You could put a little bit of value to different players and stuff like that. And I'm just completely not a WNBA fan at all. Don't really know much besides Sabrina, because I remember her from college. But so just trying to kind of get familiar with a little bit. I intend on putting together some sort of EV calc for the rare drop on Friday. So it'll be kind of fun to see who's in it and what kind of players are and stuff like that. I mean, it's been pretty wild to see some of the price action on the WNBA moments. I mean, the floor was like $15 pretty much all summer, and has started to rise a little bit. So I think that's been pretty impressive. And I think it's probably a little bit of that, people buying into being first with it. It's a lot of the badges. People want to get in and acquire a lot of the WNBA. But at the same time, I mean, it's just kind of shows what something new does. And I know there's, probably not a boatload of people that came in through TopShot just for WNBA, but there's for sure a new user base that was integrated into the website and is wanting to check it out.
For sure.
What do your numbers say about the crypto markets being down and NFTs slowing for 6 hours, which I'm sure by the morning will all be resolved. But what do we tend to see? What's the correlation between that and TopShot?
Well, I mean, I kind of like to think of it as like 3 separate markets. So there's like, Ethereum and crypto as a market. And then there's, NFTs, which if you're, investing in NFTs, you're kind of hedging against Ethereum or hedging against crypto because you're getting into another market that you think has, potential to outperform Ethereum or Bitcoin. And then, that kind of rolls back, if you're selling out of NFTs back into Ethereum, you view that as a more stable market than some NFTs that you're involved in or something like that. And then when you take it from Ethereum back into fiat, basically back into TopShot, which, isn't a direct one-to-one, right? Because US dollar is not the same as TopShot necessarily, but it is kind of bringing it into a different platform and bringing it into US dollars, which now is completely different trajectory than Ethereum. So, I mean, I thought it made sense when Ethereum was pumping and NFTs were pumping, that people were kind of taking some gains from that and bringing them back into TopShot, just because it was at a point where TopShot was pretty low, and it kind of made sense. People were starting to get worn out on the 10K projects. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't really thought through what happens on the reverse side of that as the crypto markets start to fall. But I mean, as you said, like, what is ETH at right now? 2,800. Like a couple months ago, it was like 1,800, and people thought that was like a low or something. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's not too just a kind of a blip on the radar.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just what's the famous phrase of zoom out on the chart? I mean, we're all so extremely online, and these price movements happen so fast. I mean, if you're minting these projects and you're not flipping them quick enough, you can go to bed and wake up and you're left holding the bag. Like, things are moving so fast, and you can take advantage of that speed, but also it makes our brains break and we panic about things that don't ultimately matter. Like, we all know ETH is going to be fine. Does anyone think ETH is never going to go higher than 2,800? No, but we still let our brains be so upset about like this downward movement when it really doesn't change the long-term thesis of it. Today, if you want to know, I on the low key, I completed my second NBA TopShot team set. I had completed the Celtics one.
I'll give you credit. Like, you have just stacked like very silently, not in like a malicious or sneaky way. Just like, you're one of the rare ones where I feel like you just quietly like add to your TopShot holdings through the downs, through the ups, like no FOMOing, just like to stay involved with it.
I do really think if the hardcore NFT bros have a blind spot, it's not realizing that TopShot is inevitable, and they've made mistakes, they've set themselves back, but it's going to rip. And the stuff for completing team sets is more just I want to be along for the ride with some fun in-state stuff if I'm home in Denver, going to a Nuggets game, or here in Boston. But it does seem like I learned very quickly back with Bitcoin to contra trade my emotions, and when I feel like I don't want to have any interest in TopShot, that's when I need to go buy TopShot. Right now, I don't have much interest in TopShot. Today, I completed a team set because I know how this works. When the market doesn't want, right? When others are greedy, be fearful. When everyone's fearful, be greedy. So I don't know.
And I do think, right, like we're discussing what makes Bored Ape owners love their project. And I still do feel a lot of it has to do with the money and the price. I feel that way about punks too. Like the punk community is only as strong as, you know, the floor price. But that's where no one, and we've been preaching this for what is soon going to be a year, which is like the only people in the world that can offer you tickets to a Knicks Nuggets Celtics game are Dapper and the NBA. So they can, no matter who Bored Apes partners with, right? They're not going to partner with the NBA realistically. They're not going to get the top sports IP in pretty much the world. So I just
be careful with Steph Curry though. With his,
I know.
What's interesting, I do think Bored Apes could replicate that in a sense now. I don't think that would have been like a reasonable bet for you to make previously, but now with the clout that Bored Apes has built up and the user base they have now, I mean, they could get some like high-end fashion, something like that to tie in and tie the Met Gala crowds, something like that. But I mean, Pete, to your point, look, the way I see this whole kind of thing is crypto hardos, purists, that kind of world, they don't like TopShot, and that makes up 90% of the NFT collectible base right now. So it's very, very cool right now. It's like clout chasing almost to say TopShot is dumb, TopShot is bad. That's how you like really solidify yourself as I understand crypto. You say TopShot's bad. But what people don't understand is the entire rest of the world isn't crypto purists, and that is who we're trying to onboard to NFTs. Crypto purists and us. When those people join NFTs, I think a much higher percentage of them will gravitate towards familiar type of brand like NBA, familiar type of product like a TopShot versus like a cartoon drawing of something that costs a lot of money, and you start describing the benefits to them and they're like, huh, that's like $250,000, and like it sort of makes sense to us because we've lived it for the last 5 months. But imagine all the people who aren't here yet who are going to join. What's going to make sense to them? What are they going to care about? Are they going to care about a LeBron James TopShot moment, or I don't know, Glue Factory horses, which I hold like 20 of.
I do hold that.
Well, and the other 10% of that. No, I was
John,
just going to say the other 10% of that market that's not crypto hardos that aren't anti-TopShot, a lot of them also kind of got burned by TopShot over the last however many months, or maybe not burned by TopShot, but were invested into TopShot, then saw their moments decrease in price, and so it's kind of a bit of a lull right now where people that were into it at first maybe exiting out of it, and then there's a large part of people that maybe don't want a part of it or maybe aping into it eventually. But it's just kind of it's kind of I don't know, it just feels like a little bit of a low period from like an involvement standpoint.
Real quick, before, I just want to mention this because I forgot to when I brought John in, but he has two terrific Substacks, one where he writes about DFS, the workload report, and also his TopShot centric one, Show Me the Data there. So please check out John. I just posted the link down there. Really good analysis.
Yeah, fantastic. It's really good.
Sorry, go ahead, John.
Love it.
If I read, I would read it, John. I can't with the text. Literally, someone sent me their newsletter today. I was like, "Hey, I'm a fan. Will you check this out? Give me feedback." And I literally responded. I was like, "More images and videos, please."
I know.
We want a picture of Jack that's like this big in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. But from everything I've heard, your work is highly respected. So continue.
Love it.
Go ahead, Mike.
To John's comment, I agree of the current user base, it seems like a lot of people have been burned, and I really hope those people can bounce back and they've stuck around or have left TopShot and made a bunch of money minting avatar projects. Like, I hope everyone's doing well. I do think, I don't know, a year down the line, definitely like 5 years down the line, that part of the TopShot community will be like a tiny slice. And today it's like TopShot will never recover because they've burned the entire possible addressable market. And like somehow it feels like that. And it'll be like an immaterial portion of the collector base in the future. And that doesn't mean I want to disregard those people's feelings. You know, there are people who took a chance on TopShot early on, and hopefully they'll in time be rewarded or have been rewarded just by entering the NFT space. But I think people, because of how quickly the space moves, to Pete's point, I think that a ton of people are about to be onboarded to NFTs and will feel really good about something like TopShot relative to the other alternatives in the space. And I think that waiting changes.
I think the burning the community might be slightly overstated too. Like, all my friends, all my colleagues, and everyone knows about TopShot, and they are kind of like, oh, remember when TopShot burned you? Well, now it's been 18 months and they have a mobile game and they have kiosks in every arena and they have this and they have that. And it's like, oh, well, I'll hop back in. I already have an account. I already have some moments. Let me check what they're worth. And as long as they're not actually worth $0, people might be like, oh, all right, I like versus there's people who got into TopShot who I'm still, 6 months later, 9 months later, they haven't gotten a MetaMask. They don't know any of this crypto stuff. Like, the job that Flo and Dapper has done onboarding people into crypto, like, that'll probably go down in history. Like, I genuinely believe what they've done, them in Coinbase, it's like the most absurd thing. They simplified the entire thing.
JonBoy, what is like, where have you been at with TopShot as far as your own kind of investment thesis the past few months? Are you still making long-term holds? Are you playing some short-term flip stuff? Like, how are you thinking about the market?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most of the playoffs, I was doing a bit more short term. I thought that the market was in just like a really kind of a weird spot where pretty much any news was causing people to buy and causing people to immediately try to flip into news and into quests and into challenges and stuff like that. And I thought it was just kind of a thing that kind of started trending. And so I wanted to stay away from it and just kind of stay in the short term and try to not really be buying too much. But then as the kind of summer got here, I really leaned into MGLE's Series 2. I just thought that they were pretty undervalued as a set. They're, a standard or kind of the gold standard from a TopShot set. We know they're going to happen every series. The 499 is going to look like a really small number here. And if not, by Series 3, definitely within the next couple series. And what I really like about the MGLE 2s is, while it is like a rare moment and it's a low mint count, they're also a very liquid set. And it's a lot of like the new user base that is involved in the MGLE 2s. And it's not a bunch of people that have a bunch of stacks of them and are just kind of holding on to it. So if you're invested in MGLE 2s, you're able to get liquid pretty quickly if you need it. And so that kind of appealed to me. Since then, the MGLEs kind of went on a bit of a run. So I was able to flip into the Jaw TopShot debut and the Zion TopShot debut. So those are like kind of my
that Jaw debut is my big stack. That's my big stack.
Yeah, those are my two big ones. So I'm
stop
happy
pumping,
with
Michael. Stop pumping your.
John's do my pumping for me.
One of the things I know we're gonna move into a lot of trade ticket talk. I hopped in Alan's spaces. He wanted to answer some questions, which we obviously love Alan. But I've since heard differing things potentially from what maybe he initially said, which I think goes back to all of our begging for, like, please, honestly, like, centralized communication. But the one thing he kept saying was, like, guys, rare stuff is rare and it's going to be meaningful, and common stuff, he was essentially saying, like, this is shit. Like, like, that's the whole concept behind trade tickets. He mentioned that there will be way bigger mint counts in Series 3. So don't do anything with S1 or S2 because they're not even going to open anything for trade until S3. So like that, you know, as we see people pick up like hollows for $800 and stuff like that, I actually think that stuff could become more valuable. Maybe not even dependent on the player. And honestly, I know it's not Mike's forte, but like Series 2 stuff, right? Like that stuff could be, I'd rather own a rare Bielitsa versus like a LeBron to 40K, like based off what they're trying to tell us. Now, the market obviously has to want to buy a Bielitsa, but like, you know, what's it going to be worth to a collector score? That is the one thing they've been very clear about. And I just want to kind of re-up that.
So I agree with what you said. I have my strategy early on, basically very early on, was like buy cosmics and high-end base TopShot debuts. And based on the commentary from Dapper, I don't know if that's optimal anymore, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like even though it's Series 1 bases, they've like continuously, to your point, said commons are common and all that good stuff. Now, I don't know.
I mean, for you, Mike, answer this. Like, could you, it's probably impossible for you, but based off what they're saying, could you see a world where like a Damian Lillard TopShot debut common is less valuable than a Series 3 Drew Holiday hollow?
I get, so I think, yes, I could see that world in answer to the question. I think that what I'm trying to wrap my head around is, are they basically saying, that would be fantastic. I'd be very happy with that. Are they basically saying that we should, you know, view commons as very common because it will be a high addition number, or because we're going to make legendary so all powerful that they will be better than any bases? And I think it's more the former, where they're basically warning us, because I think Dapper's finally realized we're all idiots. We don't read what they say. We don't listen to what they say. We just ape and follow what the loudest person on Twitter says.
Jack said he doesn't read. I mean,
in Alan Spaces, he's literally like, guys, like we've been putting in a lot of work to the blog. I'm like, fuck the blog. I'm not reading the blog.
Jack needs it in 10-second Snapchat.
The trade tickets blog was hilarious. They might as well put huge letters across saying, we know you're not going to read this. You're all idiots. Next point, commons will be common. And like, that's it. Like the number of times within the blog, they were like, commons will be common. We want packs to be available. It's what they've been saying throughout, but people don't want to hear it. They don't listen to it. So I think they're saying all this to warn us that commons are coming. Don't buy the first like LeBron common that comes up in Series 3, thinking that the CC will stop at like 25,000 or it might go up to $250,000. Be conscious of that. Don't get screwed. I don't know how that affects Series 1 TopShot debuts. I think those should hold up. I'm still comfortable holding them, but it's made me rethink it a little bit. Like, shit, are they like really just going to put bases all like lumped into the dump here? I don't think they're going to a Series 1.
But it's impossible for that to happen, right? Because the whole thesis is the Series 3 counts, like you said, could be 250,000. Those Series 1 debuts, like those are going to look so small in comparison to the Season 3s.
Right. That's been my feeling as well. That's kind of why I focus on it. Also, I think we got to give John like a nice little 5-minute window to talk about trade tickets. But one other thing is, do we think my take on S1 being all powerful and Cool Cats being kind of iffy is kind of similar to the Punks and Bored Ape Yacht Club, or no?
I mean,
do we like that or no? Is that similar?
You're like at least like
Pete, don't even give him the time. It's just like anything Mike and Cool Cats has zero logic and thought process.
But Cool Cats built a community.
I just
this is what I'm saying. I think it could be a reasonable comparison.
Mike, just fucking buy the Cool Cat set.
It's actually disgusting. Sell a job. Get Cool Cat. You're honestly.
Is it worse that I've been buying other stuff recently? Like I'm not putting in.
Yes, you're the worst TopShot collector of all time, unless you have a Cool Cats.
Here's the thing, Mike. I'm gonna put out a video next week with my Mount Rushmore of TopShot collectors, and unless you complete the Cool Cats challenge, I will not be able to put you on it.
I don't want to be on it. Everyone watches my moves. It's annoying. I was trying to like sneakily buy a bunch of LaMelo 40Ks the other day, and someone posted about it on Twitter like 3 minutes into it.
Wait, why?
Are you going to tell me I'm pumping my bags if I answer that?
No, because we just had a whole conversation how buying comment moments is the dumbest fucking thing you could ever do.
Okay, why is this?
I know it has the rookie bat. I get it.
It ties back into what we were saying before. I think there's going to be a lot of like casual sports fans kind of like finding TopShot and saying, what the hell is this? And like, I'm just kind of thinking through what is their thought process going to be. People in physical card world like rookies. There are, to a conversation we had a month ago, what are the best rookies on TopShot? Probably Zion, Ja, LaMelo.
RJ.
RJ? Quickly? Okay, sure. So maybe Zion, Ja, LaMelo, whatever.
Let's not do this.
Yeah. Anyway.
Thank you for putting Ja below Zion, though.
Yeah, that's for you. Anyway, so those are probably the three most sought after rookies right now. And then they're going to search for those people, and there is one moment available for any of those players that's like, I think, under $300. I think Ja's S1 is $300. Zion's S1 is like $750 for the cheap version. LaMelo only has like 4 or 5 different moments. He has one of them that's like $70, which is the 40K one, and his other ones are like $1,200 plus. Ja, Zion, minimum 300, minimum 800. And so if you just want to kind of like dip your toes in, but you're not ready to spend $600 on this digital basketball card, but you want a rookie, I think you kind of have one option right now. And it's going to be a while before we have locked down Series 3 and we know exactly how many Cade Cunninghams there are and Jalen Suggs there are. And so I think this thesis kind of holds out for kind of a long time. And so I think that'll be kind of the first, you get on, you want a rookie, you get that LaMelo 40K. And it doesn't take that many people to push it up. And so
it was a similar thesis I had. Yeah. I kind of had the same thought with the Giannis, like just the base moments for Giannis this year when they looked like they were going to come back and win the finals or they looked like they were going to win the finals. My thought was just, at the time they were $8 or $9 to get a Giannis moment. And just the mindset I had was like, okay, I'm going to buy a bunch of Giannis's because if they win the finals and it gets a championship badge and Series 3 comes out and it's, whatever, it's out of 50K or 80K or whatever, people are going to want to go buy that Giannis that has the championship badge for a couple bucks more because it's Giannis's first championship. They're going to want to go to that common more than just the fresh one out of Series 3. And so that was kind of my thesis is eventually that moment is going to be a little bit more expensive over time. And I've since flipped them all during the 2 different quests or whatever. But but I mean that was kind of my
John the
thought.
rent seeker.
Good narrative.
Good narrative. Well, all right. So I'll give you a good comp to the sports card world, which I think to both your guys' thought process, it is there. Like LeBron's second year, Luka's second year. Those are absolutely players. MJ pretty much any year if you find the right card. I mean, he's got stuff from his 86 Fleer up to 93 to 96 that all hold value. So there's definitely a world where there's just a price point that makes more sense for entry for people who want to collect their favorite players. So I think that is smart, as hard as that is for me to admit. Kind of like the Bored Apes. At one point, it was the price point to get in a really good community. But we'll stay focused on TopShot.
Yeah, let's stay focused on TopShot. We also had trade ticks that dropped this week. JonBoy, tell us your thoughts on this. A lot of people rush to start cashing in on this. I believe last I checked, it was disabled. Give us the state of the trade ticks right now.
That's when TopShot's back.
I mean, honestly, it's probably good that it's disabled because it's helping people. I'll kind of do a little intro here on what my thoughts are on the trade tickets because I think it's a little bit different than what a lot of people think. So they were very clear in the blog that they came out with it, which I'm sure Jack read pretty thoroughly, that you want to make sure that you're using S3 comments. Like they said it 2 different times. Like these are going to be the moments that you're going to want to use for trade tickets. Immediately, there's 30,000 moments in the locker room. So that just shows you the comprehension of the average TopShot user get through the blog. And then, but then the other thing that I've been seeing people think is oh, well, I'm just going to wait until Series 3 moments come out because they're going to be 100,000, 200,000 mint count, and they're all going to be worth $1. And I kind of I don't think that's going to happen right away. I think there's going to be a lot of resistance to that quick downward price movement to $1 because when you think about the right now the top prize for these trade tickets is the S1 base packs, and that they're loading up with the 1,000 mint moments, and then a couple of the other 3 other ones from Series 1. And so right now those packs are like I have like a chart on my Google Sheets. The EV of just landing a pack of those right now is like almost $3,000, $2,900. And so and they said that they're gonna be anywhere between 300 to 500 tickets. I saw something in the comments tonight that maybe they're only 125. Jacob
Yeah,
said
I saw that too.
So I haven't heard that, but that like I just did some research on like how many people even have that many moments in their account. There's only 1,300 people on TopShot that have 500 moments. There's only 3,900 people that have 300 moments. And out of all those people, they're not just going to liquidate all their moments for trade tickets. So there's going to be like a ton of people that are going to want to get these moments to turn them into trade tickets. And there was also a lot of discussion right away, like, okay, at 500 trade tickets, like there's no chance that these things are going to be plus EV. And I don't think that's true either. Like, even if it is 500, you could still turn in 500 $5 moments and you would still have a plus EV shot at these packs. And the way that they've said is they're going to trickle out these S1s over 18 months. And it's hopefully going to be in a matter where it doesn't just completely tank the floor. And so I just think,
so hard.
yeah, I mean, I just think that it's going to be like, I don't know. I think that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to be buying these Series 3. And even if the mint counts are pretty high, there's just a lot of people that are going to be buying into it. And I don't expect it's going to go immediately to $1.
Also, I know they announced you could bulk trade in tickets, but can you bulk buy? Like, who the fuck is going to sit there and grind $3 buys when everyone else is trying to buy? Like,
we have Jacob in the chat. Sorry that I cursed, Jacob.
Oh, baby. There
you go. 300. Yeah, I think one of the fun things.
Not the centralized communication that we want.
No, that is centralized. It was someone fudding the actual consistent communication that TopShot was actually doing.
That's true.
One of the things that's exciting for me that is huge in physical cards is pack breaking. And if someone, right, a breaker wants to put together a really sound business and calculate the EV and put in the work to buy and then trade in and then hold the packs and that, like, I'd much rather pay $100 and buy the Knicks in a team break and not have to go through all that and just play like the gambling, which is essentially trading in a lot of those things. That could be really interesting. And then you get the pack opening experience often. Like, Mike, you were in a bunch of those razzes early on. Like,
yeah.
That totally made like TopShot go for a little bit. It is funny looking back at, like, I know I got the worst moment. I got LeBron TopShot debut. I had the 10th out of 10th pick. And other people had
like a $300 buy-in or something.
Yeah, it was $300 buy-in, and other people got like a D'Angelo Russell hollow. And like, it's funny that ended up being the most valuable. But I think pack breaking and get all the degens, right, that jumped into TopShot, that's like a fun way to experience it.
100%.
So
do we think the people who have already traded in, are they completely? Are they not understanding like the guidance Dapper's given, or are they just like, screw it, this is fun, I'm doing it, it's a new thing to do on TopShot, and like I'm just gonna do it for fun? And I know there's an element to that because people are starting to trade in like good moments, which is kind of a funny. I like that.
That's one thing that I was kind of pissed. Like, I wish they game theoried it a little and made like. Because I think it would have been funny, like if someone trades in, whatever, like a Mo Williams run it back. But I also think it would have been cool to see someone like literally donate like a fucking hollow. And then they're essentially saying like, all right, I want to take my chance. Like, I think that would be good. So I was kind of bummed that they didn't.
Yeah, what I don't like about the flat structure is it kind of, I mean, if you put this into a spreadsheet and like game theory this out over a long enough time frame, it makes every moment worth the exact same amount because you will continue to trade in the least valuable moment until it catches up to the next least valuable moment.
Right.
And that'll continue playing out until literally every moment's the same price, assuming and obviously that's like not how it'll play out in reality, but it kind of makes, the bottom, third of the platform all equivalent, and there's no real preference among them except for what's the cheapest trade ticket fodder, which is, I don't know. I mean, I think it's interesting. It adds an element to the platform. I think you guys know I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to, like, I kind of like when it's just, I like this moment, so I want to own this. And we start introducing these other things, and it's like, okay, I'm getting this. I don't care what the team is. I don't care what the player is. I don't care how many points he scored, or where he was playing, or where he went to college. He's a trade ticket.
Yeah.
Do you think, JonBoy, do you think there needs to be a lot more education about kind of the probabilities and expected value to, if you're burning X amount of moments versus what the expected value is of your chance of getting the pack, what that upside could be? Because it seems like a lot of people might just act impulsively. I don't like these moments. I'm willing to gamble clackety clack. Are they going to end up getting it in bad?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Number one, to answer your question, yes, I think there needs to be a lot more educational type stuff that goes out on the TopShot blog. I mean, I was a little bit, I'm not a huge fan of like them kind of going through some of these, like, here's the 5 best like games from last year, the game scores, or here's the top 10 scores, like that. That's just kind of, it doesn't, in my opinion, it's not that helpful, and it's just kind of advertisement type of thing. But there needs to be more, and I think maybe that's what the Economist blog is trying to do, but to try to like help teach people a little bit more. And they've been putting them out in sequence with each other, but like but also to their credit, I mean, like, just regardless of what happens when you have, like, you know, anywhere, I'm not sure what the active count is. I know there's like 500,000 accounts or whatever that have a moment, but anytime that there's like that many people that are trying to read something and react to it, there's going to be just like a huge influx of stuff that maybe we are going to look back from it a week from now and say, hey, that was kind of stupid. And it's just people that get excited and try to be ahead of it. I mean, I do still think that there's going to be kind of some levels to like these common moments, because there's going to be like the trade ticket fodder, but then there's also going to be kind of like the collector score aspect to it too, which is kind of completely nixed from Series 3. And so as collector score continues to be important and continues to be impactful for run it back and stuff like that, that's going to be kind of like a secondary level that needs to play into things. And so, man, I saw a comment earlier, like, why did I went through and I bought 500 S2 commons. Like, why was that stupid for doing that? Because I thought they were all going to be trade tickets. And honestly, in my opinion, like, if you look at the way that the floor has typically like worked, and we've seen it in like the rares as the kind of throwdown set kind of came down, it all kind of hovers around where like that collector score threshold is. And so they've already said that Series 3 collector score is going to be worth only 2 points. And so those aren't really going to be used at all for collector score. Series 2 is always going to be worth 12. So theoretically, it should be trading at like a 6-to-1 ratio. And so just from pure collector score standpoint. And so in my opinion, like, $6 seems like the right floor that Series 2 is eventually going to settle at. And I mean, I don't know, that may be kind of a little of an overarching standpoint. It might take a while to get there, but as these kind of new things come into play, and like collector score comes to front of mind again, which it isn't right now at all, that's going to be the next wave of like stacking up on S2s, because everything that kind of hovers around the floor for some of these gamification type things.
Yeah, Irma Vep here in the chat. Collector score is very clearly important, as TopShot has emphasized repeatedly. And I think that's one of the things too. I know for me, psychologically, sometimes it's just something you kind of ignore, or like, oh, that's fine to have. But like you said, when you read between the lines of the messaging, they're making it clear over and over. This is going to be a metric that they use for a lot of future roadmap decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I think like just in general, that's always something that I try to harp on, is like, people get really worked up about what should my collector score be? Like, do I need to have a 10,000 collector score to be like safe for everything? Or do I need to have 15,000 or whatever? And in my opinion, like, because of like, to date, all the different drop bonuses that they've come out with are very like fluid and change a lot, and are based on a lot of different dynamics. It's better to like go into it with like, okay, whatever your collector score is, it is what it is. And if there is a like the holo pack that came out that was only $200, and it was like clearly going to be very plus EV, like a lot of potential to get great moments and stuff like that, well, then you can do the math on, okay, it makes sense for me to spend $500 on building up my collector score, because I'm still going to go into the drop from a plus EV standpoint, versus like just randomly having 15K in your account and you don't even need it because you were a part of a drop bonus or whatever, and now you've wasted $1,000 on moments that you didn't really need for collector score just because you were trying to build collector score. So I'm always of the mindset for collector score to just kind of wait until the announcement comes out, wait till the thresholds are set into play, figure out what's coming out in the pack, and then see if, okay, does it make sense for me to spend more dollars right now before the pack to up my collector score?
Mike, you just stood up. You're pacing. You look like that brain of yours is formulating a monologue.
I've been standing. I'm trying not to talk because I've been called a plunge father. And
What?
Is that a thing?
It's now a thing.
What? I literally don't I don't get the connection. Why are they calling you a plunge father?
I think I was talking too much without giving John, the guest, the opportunity to cut in.
It would be hard to talk more than plunge father. I don't think you're gonna take that crown, Mike.
I think that's what the comment was. I don't know.
Go ahead.
So I guess my question is, hashtag how rich. I don't play the collector score game because I don't have to play the collector score game. My question for those who do play, is that an enjoyable aspect of TopShot for you, or do you play
Sounds stressful.
Yeah, but do you play it because like that's the game that's available right now and like everyone wants to take optimal actions? Is that enjoyable, or it's like a necessary evil to participate in the ecosystem?
I mean, I can talk on that because I've been, in the trenches of it since I pretty much started. I mean, I didn't come in with a whole lot of capital, and I've kind of slowly built it up. And I mean, just from like, if you fully take a step back from TopShot and you just look at even during the bear market or whatever, if you simply like purchase packs and held on to your moments, like there's no way that you lost money. And so and if that's the only thing you did, if you just bought packs and held on to your moments, like all the moments every pack has been plus EV for all of Series 2, whatever. And so so using that mindset, I mean, there's a million other different things you can do within the marketplace, within challenges, whatever, where you can easily lose money. But what I've always tried to do is, okay, that's like the number one way to like increase the value of my collection, increase my chances at a positive expected value. And so I've always tried to like figure out what that game is. Like, okay, if this pack comes out and it's going to be worth X amount of money, should I come in and play the collector score game, and should I try to up it? And I personally advocate for it because I think that there's a lot of people that are in that phase of like not, they don't have a collector score 50,000 or whatever where they don't have to worry about it, and they're maybe in that like 3,000 to 10,000 range where it's variable and you could be in or out of different thresholds depending on the different drop. And there is some very clear packs, and there's some very clear announcements where it's like, okay, it makes sense to spend a little money here and to stack some Miles Bridges moments, or to stack some, Sacramento Kings moments or whatever, and be eligible for the pack. And then there's other ones where it's like, okay, it doesn't make sense to spend more than, $20 to try to qualify for it. But I think that nuance right there is what kind of burns people a lot, is everybody just thinks that like it's going to make a lot of sense to always try to get to the next threshold. And it doesn't always make sense that way, depending on like what's in the packs and how much they are and stuff like that. But I don't view it as like a bad thing personally. I mean, it does take a lot of clicks, and if you're trying to buy 20 moments, it's not the most efficient thing to do right now. I personally haven't ever like just loaded up 100 moments in a night or anything like that. But so that would be something that I think could be smoothed out a little bit, is making kind of bulk buying a little bit easier. I think more people would do it, but I don't view it as like that big of a hurdle to do. It's just kind of, if you're into it and you're tracking that stuff, it's not too big of a deal.
What do you guys think of this comment? Because I feel like this kind of gets at what we were talking about earlier with the Larva Lab stuff in the where it's like we get mad when these projects aren't doing stuff and they aren't kind of creating new ways to engage with it. But then on the other hand, we say, don't tell us what to do, where it's like, it seems like we're always wanting to have our cake and eat it too.
Yeah, it's literally both. I mean, Panini tells you what to collect, right? They literally number shit. It's the same stuff with any NFT project, right? Like when the Bored Apes drops, they set the rarity. We set the rarity for the Knights tonight. Like we're literally telling you the market will decide at the end of the day. But like, and I guess to a point, like Cryptopunks, it's not strictly the most rare shit is the most valuable, but it will at least shape it. So I think, like you said, Pete, it's just people want both things to be true, and it can't.
I think what's fun about all of this stuff, right? And with the rarity is like, it's like playing a game, right? You pull out the Monopoly board and the Monopoly devs have decided these are the rules of the game. And then you play within those rules. So when you put out the rarity or you put out the showcases, you are giving yourself over to the devs rules for that game. And then you try to gamify or optimize or whatever to win that game. So it's like, maybe you don't love this flavor of the game, but in general, you want the rules, you want the gamification because that's
Right.
what makes it fun.
Yeah, I think it's tough. I mean, the thing with that, we've talked about this before. I think someone made a comment that phrased it well, where it's kind of moved from you're basically buying moments of players that you like or that maybe you think will outperform their current market valuation to, and maybe get some more national spotlight and their team outperforms and they maybe sneaky win an MVP, whatever it is, to what do we think Dapper will reward next? And I do think, and I'm seeing a lot of this in the comments here, that it's hard because it's been framed as collect what you love. And for me, I much prefer looking for a Knicks moment, looking for a LeBron moment, than like trying to think through what's going to be part of the next Cool Cats Common Moment challenge. I guess there's something there, but for me, that's not why I collect TopShot moments. Maybe for other people, they get enjoyment out of that and they like the kind of challenge of trying to crack the riddle. I like the idea of kind of collecting what you want to own and players, teams, things like that. And I do worry sometimes we're moving farther and farther away from that, and it's going to be really, really hard to get back to it because now we've kind of opened this Pandora's box.
Wouldn't that somewhat, not fully, but somewhat be solved with somewhat of a roadmap? Like before Series 3 starts, if they said, okay, for any common drop, you're going to need this collector score. For any rare drop, you're going to need this. And then at least you can go collect a Nick, LeBron, your favorite player to get to that point. But I do feel like there's not always a clear picture of what's going to be, unlocking the next thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would allow people to focus on their dollars and just generally improving their collector score. But even within collector score, it's like what if you want an S3 Steph Curry moment because you were at that game and Dapper's basically said that's worth 1/6 as much as an S2 equivalent. You can't really just go out and buy what you want, and so I think that's a challenging aspect. And like for a lot of people, the dollars matter for a lot of people. I think that's one common theme here that we've all agreed on tonight. The dollars drive a lot of decisions in this world, like the rest of the world. And right now, as someone who holds primarily Series 1 stuff, I never wake up and one of my moments is suddenly up 30% overnight, because what that takes right now is for that moment to be included in a showcase, or that player to be included in the showcase, and for it to be the cheapest version of what's going to be in that showcase. So if your goal right now is to optimize your profits and to improve your P&L as much as you can, your game right now is let's bet on what's the cheapest moment I can find for a player that I think will be part of an upcoming challenge or some equivalent of that. What's Dapper going to do next? And
it's like betting on what's coming next in Dapper versus what's coming next in terms of the face of the NBA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In terms of it's moving farther from the court and closer to Dapper.
But I don't think it'll ever stray from that, right? Like there isn't a world where they're gonna be able to make a Bismack Biyombo more valuable, but there is a world where you've said you see the floor of Cosmics being valuable, and that has nothing to do with the ability of a player.
So I agree, but that probably applies to a couple thousand people on the platform. For most people on the platform, they probably want to get a 40,000 edition size LeBron, and that has very little prospect of popping. The better example is let's call it the no look LeBron. What's going to be the catalyst for that to pop, quote unquote? Should that be part of the game, that basically you're trying to find the next thing that'll pop? And It may not be LeBron. It may not be your favorite player. It may be, Anthony Edwards, because he's a rookie and he was involved in the NBA's tweet and whatever it is. And so now are we now treasure hunting for next time NBA tweets about something? Who was involved with that? Should I go buy his floor moment? Why would I buy LeBron? Let me go buy this or RJ Barrett moment because they were highlighting him, or something about the Knicks on Christmas, or whatever it is. And so I don't know. Look, it's part of the game. It brings people back to the platform. I think it helps grow the platform. People like it. It's something to talk about. It's something to do, and people have been clamoring for that for the last few months. But I do think that we should try and Dapper should try to stay kind of true to the nature of the platform. This is for basketball fans, people collecting what they actually want to collect.
I will
kind of go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go.
No, I was just gonna say one of the things that I liked towards the end of the season was that Dapper started doing a lot more of the snapshot based stuff. So when you look at how they did the LaMelo MGLE, and then even though it was very small chances to go to the draft and to go to the finals, that was all kind of snapshot based stuff too. And what I really took from that is they were providing kind of outs, or they were providing kind of utility or whatever it is for a bunch of different types of people who are collectors. If you look at how they did the LaMelo, I mean, there's 5 different tiers of people that appealed to. And it also wasn't something that was okay, the quest came out, go try to flip these 5 moments or whatever, and try to make money on it because you're speculating on that. It was just kind of a passive byproduct utility type of thing. And that's what I think that they should lean into a lot more in Series 3 is and I agree with what you're saying, because that's the part that frustrates me a lot is okay, when's Dapper gonna reward us hustle and show set finishers, or they did for the 9 lives lots or whatever? All that stuff is kind of bullshit to me, and that that's definitely something that isn't required or needed or anything. But I don't mind the fact that Dapper is trying to find different tiers or trying to find different thresholds for a way to reward people, because what it does is it says, hey, it's not just the MGLEs that matter, right? It's also if you just had a bunch of rookie moments, or if you had rookie legendary moments, if you're in that area or whatever. And it kind of keeps it guessing a little bit on okay, if I'm within my means and I'm collecting what I like, I still have a good chance at being a part of something. And it's not just going to be completely out of my reach. And I think they kind of started getting into it at the end of the season. And I think that we might see a lot more of that this year. I would hope.
I know we joke that TopShot is dead, and it's definitely not the forefront of the NFT world. And obviously the show is called Club TopShot, but this chat is never more active, than when we talk TopShot. And Mike's engagement is never more active. Still mine, right? Anything I tweet, it does not matter what my profile picture is, what it's about. It's anything TopShot, that's what a lot of people are interested in. You see it in the chat all through tonight. The Bored Ape Punk, there were 4 people chiming in. And during this conversation, it feels like there's 100 people. The interest is there. It does feel like there's something bubbling. What comes from it is really going to be interesting. Will it be I still feel like, even as much as we say we might not get back to February pricing, it still feels like people assume we will because of all the crazy shit that can come down the line. But the interest in TopShot, it's still my favorite project. I still love it. And I honestly, it's been the longest I've gone without being active, checking the site. And I don't check evaluate market that often. But I think everyone just loves the platform and does genuinely believe in it long term, even if they don't want it.
Yeah. I mean, I would caution, I've seen a lot of stuff, as soon as TopShot goes on a bit of a run, you see stuff on Twitter oh, just imagine when there's 3 million characters on TopShot or something like that. And I mean, I would just kind of caution, that's not just going to happen overnight. And all of a sudden, your, Bismack Biombo 40K is going to be worth, $80 or something. I mean, it's just, it's not going to happen. And I don't think people should be looking at it with that mindset. I mean, sure, maybe in 5 or 10 years or whatever, when the whole world is different. But I mean, we've been in this NFT crypto TopShot space for 9 to 10 months right now. I mean, nobody is thinking that far ahead, including myself. I mean, I'm sure there are people.
I agree. And my take's always been, I actually do think that the good stuff can get back to the February pricing genuinely. I said it even in the run up. I said, I know I should be selling Ish Smith MGLEs. Why is my Jeff Green, worth $3,000? You weren't going to do it because it was worth more tomorrow. That stuff literally may never come back. Like even the somewhat rare stuff of the Ish Smiths. But I do think LeBron, like in the grand scheme of things, 2,000 LeBron moments being worth $40,000, like that's not like Bored Apes. Like Bored Apes are 2.5 times the price of that, and that's not LeBron James, right? One of, if not the greatest player ever.
Yeah. And I do think, we've been talking a lot about what's going on with the NFT bull market run versus kind of TopShot, this perceived stagnation. And this has been a talking point. We're talking about it with the club NGMI guys last night. And I know people have talked about it on Twitter. You guys mentioned the Believer bot, just pricing things in Ethereum. There is this psychological thing that is so different right now where people have no problem throwing Ethereum, burning gas to go after these projects, but just being anchored to USD prices is still like, it's a legitimate barrier for people right now. And I do like, it seems so simple, but I think if you flip that switch, I think it would almost be a game changer.
My question is, and it's one of the things that I discussed with some other people literally today, and I've said it all throughout TopShot. I'm terrible at trading, right? So I bought a punk early and I like the thesis behind it. And then one I got with a group of people, we sold out because we were like, this is ridiculous. But then it stays in ETH and you dump it into new projects, right? You're never going to get back into these blue chips a majority of the time. And how many times, like I see people in chat saying, it's tough to ignore ETH and jumping in and minting new. And then I make 10 ETH on a project, but it's like, what are you doing with that 10 ETH? You're just going to dump it into other projects. And how many more of them are going to hit? Like, I hate to say it, but I feel like our chat is probably not like professional NFT traders for the long haul. They may have killed it now. And if you made life-changing money and took money off the table, like that's fucking sick. Like I know Babs was able to move out of his igloo into like a house and everything. But it just feels like people, they trade up and then they're avoiding the blue chips because they're playing the gambling game. And in the end, we know what happens there. And TopShot feels like a more stable coin for a bear market for a long-term project.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to clarify my comment on the nobody's thinking about 5 or 10 years. That there are people that are collecting with that mindset, and there's people that know that TopShot is going to be successful in the long term. My comment was more about like the people that see a run in TopShot and then they're like, oh my gosh, there's going to be 3 million collectors tomorrow. This thing's going to explode. I don't think that's going to happen. And so that was kind of that comment. Go ahead.
So I think along the lines of what Jack was saying is one of the sneaky catalysts for TopShot may be this. Right now, standing here today, if your number one goal is make money, you shouldn't be in TopShot. You should probably be minting every random project you could possibly find, because a concerning percentage of them are, it's called 5 to 10x's. I don't understand, but it's weird because it kind of builds on itself. Because the last few have worked out, people will play the next one, and then people, the second level buyers will come in because last time some sup duck sold for 50 Ethereum.
I wish I had a sup duck. They look so cool.
And so I think the point is right now, TopShot's risk reward or return profile cannot possibly keep up with like this strange euphoria going on that somehow is still happening on September 21st. I was literally preaching caution about things like this in like February.
Yeah.
Like 7 months ago, saying there's going to be a ton of supply. Like, make sure to keep most of your assets in safe things. And that was 100% the wrong advice. The correct advice would have been blindly gamble into everything possible. And strangely, that's still probably correct today. I think when that goes away and that dies, and we have the guys in the chat here and the guys in the NFT part of the club chat no longer that excited about minting every new project that comes out and every new avatar, then what suddenly looks fun again? Oh yeah, I like basketball. I'm an NBA fan. Let me do this. And people
when the
regain
illiquid
interest in Top Shot.
JPEGs actually become illiquid, that's when, you know, things will definitely get interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's going to need to be like a prolonged kind of bear market for crappy NFTs that, you know, people just minted and are trying to flip, and that'll kind of remind people, hey, we have this thing that's been like building a pretty incredible product behind the scenes. Maybe it's worth revisiting it at some point. But again, it kind of goes back to my point earlier. I think all these like people we're talking about is like a tiny portion of what the ultimate Top Shot market will be, which is what John, John's cautioning me against, saying that, like, you know, it may take a couple of years to play out. It's not going to be an automatic 15x from here. And at some point, there's a ceiling. I mean, are we saying that LeBron James Cosmic moments are going to be worth $10 million at some point? And if not, you know, how much can things go up from here? I don't know. These are all questions to ask. But I think the platform looks a lot more attractive on a relative basis when everything in Ethereum isn't, you know, 5xing on a daily basis.
If I
mean,
told
I kind
you,
of liken it.
No, I was just gonna say, if I told you that the people who say NFTs are a bubble and they're not real, if those people, critics, if I told you at some point in time they're going to appear right, I think that wouldn't shock anyone, right? Like, there's totally gonna be a bear market where people are going to be like, I can't believe this ever happened. This is so stupid. Now, it doesn't mean it can't go back up. It doesn't mean that new tech and new projects are actually going to come out that are meaningful. But I would certainly bet a ton of money that there will be a point in time where people are going to be like, I was right. NFTs were stupid. You guys were idiots. And both might be true.
But the reality is those people are wrong, because people will be wrong with 4 straight times. You make a bet that all goes to 0. You are still way up, having played this game.
Yeah, of course.
Way up. And it makes sense to play the game right now. And it's
but
horrible,
my point is, they'll
30.
never acknowledge that, right?
Yeah.
So there will be the people. And that's why I think taking profits, right? That's my point, is like, people continue. They went from 1 ETH to 10 to 100, but they continue to pour it in. And in theory, all those projects could absolutely flop.
No, I agree. And an interesting thing is, it's not like, okay, choose Project X, whatever you want to call it, is at 20 ETH right now. It's not like things start trending down. Oh, but it's fine, I can sell it for 12 ETH. I think it does kind of have the effect where it's like, okay, everyone's seen it fall from 20 to 15, then from 15 to 12. Not unlike what we saw with TopShot, where it's like, I kind of think this is good value, but like, it really seems like it's going to be down again tomorrow. Right. And then the seller's like, no one's buying, so I have to lower my price. And it just goes down and down. And there's no guarantee you can sell it for 40% of current value. You know, if it goes down, it could just go. So yeah, I mean, definitely take profits and definitely put it right back into TopShot. Yeah.
Well, I think the trade tickets are gonna, like, I mean, kind of circling back to that, but like, I think there's like so much potential with the trade tickets that nobody's like really talking about or thinking about right now, because right now the carrot is like the Series 1 packs that have all these, like, you know, rare moments or something like that. But like, I mean, how many times has like TopShot said, like, we want to be the currency of the NBA, we want to be the currency of fandom, whatever. Like, what if it gets to the point where like turning in 10 trade tickets at the ticket window gets you like into a game or something like that? I mean, like, that would be crazy. What if 2 trade tickets get you a hot dog at the snack bar? I mean, like that type of stuff, like, seems like it's not that far away from a reality. And I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of far-fetched, but at the same time, it's like, why doesn't TopShot open sync in with Fanatics, and you can order a jersey for 50 trade tickets or whatever? Yeah. I mean, like,
league pass. Yeah, Jack always says league pass.
Yeah, I actually traded NBL to get my Kelly Olynyk run it back, so I could trade it in for nice cotton candy at the Garden. It's kind of
I mean, Andy mentioned right, like the DAOs buying sports teams. Like, yeah, maybe they can't. Maybe we can't buy TopShot can't buy an NBA team at this point, although that'd be fucking sick. But like, sponsor a jersey. That, you know, there's so much stuff that just playing around the NBA IP. Michael Jordan's an investor, right? Like, people get so excited when Stephen Curry buys a Bored Ape, because truthfully, that is insane. Michael Jordan is like, has a lot of money tied to this company. That's about as good of a promo as you could possibly run.
Let's see here. if there's any other topics we want to hit on, I also feel like it would be fun after all this TopShot talk to open a pack or two. I'm still sitting on a few. Are there any other topics, JonBoy? Any other TopShot hot takes you want to get off your chest here?
I think that's pretty good. I mean, I would say the one thing I would say that I always try to like caution people on is just like understanding how expected value works and like how some of these packs work. I know it's like a super fucking nerdy thing to say, and like everybody needs to like get into the numbers and all this shit, but like I mean, it was like so visible to me during like some of the rare packs and like legendary packs during the playoffs when like we were in the middle of NFT summer and nobody gives a shit about TopShot and everybody's chasing all these different PFP projects and stuff like that. And like there was like real like podcasts and people that were saying like, oh, I don't know, this legendary pack might be like minus EV or it's going to be questionable or whatever. It's like, okay, I did a thread. It's like there would have to be like all these like 10 different things that would have to happen, and the market would have to do this and this in order for this pack to not be EV. But it's like such a big deal because like it just plays into like the overall FUD of like this drop and like, oh my God, and it sucks and all this stuff. And like I would just tell everyone that like the more that you kind of understand like how that stuff works, and that is how we are going to be acquiring moments in the future, right? That's the lowest entry point to acquire moments on the platform that you're a huge fan of. So take some time to understand like how to know if like it's worth your investment to go for a pack, or if it's worth your investment to bump up your collector score to get to a pack or whatever. And if it's worth your time to like hold on to that moment that you get and not just immediately flip it into a challenge or whatever at like super low price and you kind of get screwed a week later. So anyways. Yeah,
that drives me nuts. The lack of understanding of expected value versus minimum possible outcome of this pack. That's the number of times every day I see, well, if you pull this horrible moment, and this horrible moment, you would lose $2. So therefore, this pack is negative EV. It's just not what it means.
Yeah. All right. Should we wrap up here and open a pack? I think we should open a pack.
Yeah.
Did anyone participate in the trade ticket stress test?
No one did. It didn't happen yet.
Pushed it. Yeah,
they pushed it.
Yeah.
Oh, so TopShot, you need to know the signs. Yeah, you need to know the signs. When everyone says TopShot is dead, when they're absolutely releasing features that get pushed back, when they promise something but it hasn't actually come to fruition yet, all these things are the bull market signs that they'll write about 20 years down the line.
All right, let's do it. Yo, what up? It's DJ Pete over Zat. Welcome to the club. We didn't think things were gonna get popping tonight, but it's about to get lit. Behind door number 2, it's a 3-pointer. 13-25, Kevin Durant.
Pascal.
We're gonna get a LaMelo. We're gonna get a Luka. We're gonna get a LeBron. Victory reveal. Let's go. God damn it! I don't need another layup. To the window. To the wall. The De'Aaron Fox stripped down my ball. 293 assists. Let's go. 293. Everybody get their drinks. Let's get a cheers tonight before we open up these nice packs.
There's nothing that shows that TopShot was more fun than Jennings' fucking reaction to like the most random TopShot moment.
I was just gonna say that.
Right? Like it's insane. Nowadays, like he wouldn't even blink. But like that's how fun it was. And there's still that passion for it. It's obviously more fun when we're making money, but TopShot's fun. And we haven't had like a chance to open dope packs in what, like 3 months, it feels like.
Yeah.
Like when even was that last big pack drop?
How about we do a dope pack? I've been sitting on a MGLE pack for a while.
Ooh.
Little walk off MGLE pack tonight.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
down.
Let's do it. Also, again, we dropped the link in the chat. Please check out JonBoy Beats on Twitter. I will get the link to his Substack in the show notes as well. 2 great Substacks. John, do you have any plugs for your football content? You're crushing all the data usage stuff over there as well.
Yeah. I do the workload report, which is like production, usage, stats, everything. I tie it up into a nice article to help understand the data, but you also get the Google Sheets. So I do that every week. That's kind of more season long or just all football. And then every Saturday I come out with the flow chart for DraftKings. Theoretically, it should help you build a great GPP lineup or a couple of lineups. It's completely fizzled out with everything tied to the Titans last couple of weeks, except for Derrick Henry. But, we're back at it week 3, baby.
Pete, how did your lineups do on TOC?
TOC did good. I got like 62nd, so I got a $250 payout there. I had
really?
That's
what you get that much for 60 seconds?
Yeah. I bubbled. If I was top 50, I would have got 500. So
wow.
It was I had the Seattle quarterback and Seattle wide receivers with the Tennessee Titans bring back. So I had the big dog points there. And I had Chiefs tight end, and I absolutely whiffed at defense. I think I had Cardinals defense at 2 points. So it could have been better. But the
was
TOC
that all natural? Or was that did you pull those from packs, or did you hit the marketplace and get that stack?
Yeah, I bought multiple packs, and I bought 10 individual cards during the drop, but I have not hand selected. But I was scoping the market today, and there are some. Basically, my strategy is I want to complete some of my stacks. So I want to get wide receiver cards for my quarterbacks, and vice versa. I want to get some quarterback cards just so I can run out the correlated stacks most weeks. And then I figure,
How do you?
That's where I'm going next with my sheets, man. Points per ETH. That's where my next tab in the Google Sheets is going for TOC.
All right, I'm looking.
Can you see where you place at this point?
Yeah, go to my entries.
I went to my entries, go contest.
I cashed in the side hustle.
Did you? Fuck, I got
$150.
Nice.
$150.
I cashed in the main one last week, but not this week.
I love this comment. I have literally in my life, I have received one $5 comp pack from TopShot, and I still get the conspiracy theories of that Jacob is just hand dropping me MGLE packs.
Shit! I won $110. How do you claim that?
110.
If you go to the Discord, it's on the frequently asked questions. It'll be added to your account. If you want to withdraw it, you have to KYC, which means it's a scam, obviously, just like TopShot.
Yeah. Wow, look
just
at
like
me,
TopShot.
110.
It'll be
a double 110, baby.
What was your lineup? lineup?
The top lineup that got 164, Tampa quarterback. Wow, that crushed. Dallas running back, Tennessee wide receiver, Atlanta tight end, Chicago D. Atlanta tight end. We need to talk about that guy, but at a different time. And
it's
then
not his fault. It's not his fault.
Yeah. And then the 191, we talked about this, Pete. I played not Daniel Jones, New York National quarterback, which seemed to be a strong play. I used my Joker on Los Angeles National. They got 12. I had Seattle wideouts.
Did you pull a Joker?
Yeah, I pulled a Joker, but for defense.
That's how Jokers work? It's position specific?
Yeah, it's position specific. I literally pulled the worst Joker you could. So that's main event. Wait, does that do main event and side hustle?
Yeah.
That's how you
I'm running so uncorrelated everywhere. I don't have like a single pair of anything anywhere. I need to like hit the marketplace pretty hard this week.
Wait,
and try to load up.
All right, I'll figure it out on my own time then.
We need to get some trades going to get our correlated stacks.
I did get Jags quarterback #1 cereal, so that was cool.
Really? Because I need Jags quarterback for my Jags wide receivers.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the cereals mattered because they matter.
I have Jags quarterback too. We can.
So what one?
I have KC quarterback. That's a good one.
That's pretty good.
I really like the team position thing. I like it a lot. Yeah, it's a different dynamic.
Yeah, I agree with Ryan here. Correlation is key. I think the field will catch up probably in a few weeks, but for now it's being underutilized. So jam those correlations while you got them.
I would say the field is not going to catch up on that very quickly.
You guys don't think so? That's
maybe like the top 500 people will, but like I don't think it's going to be a while.
That's like from the early days of these tournaments. Anything with any top heavy payout, just covariance it up.
So if you get
it's a
your
flat payout, I would say relative. I mean, it's pretty
it is
good
pretty
chunks there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, agreed.
If you get your money into your TOC account, you can use that money to then buy off the marketplace, or do you have to convert it to?
Not right now, but they're working on a USD
Got it.
marketplace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's been fun, and it was a little buggy on Sunday morning, but when it's working properly, it's so easy to set the lineups and everything. It's like there's no salary cap that you have to kind of navigate there.
And this is something I've been thinking about. Dan, who, by the way, for people who don't know, is a very sharp, high-stakes fantasy football player. I think the undervalued right now is like the second elite tier, because I think anyone who has a Carolina running back, a Kansas City tight end, Kansas City quarterback, they're playing them. And so it's like in a tournament. Imagine if you're playing a DFS tournament and you said, Mahomes was going to be 50% owned. Right. Or Travis Kelce was going to be 50.
But we have talked about that they can only be like 10% owned or something, or 15, because there's only so many cards.
True, there is a cap, like you said.
But you're not getting yeah.
So if you're
I actually started on tight ends today, and like Kansas City is, I think the floor was like 0.125, and then Baltimore, which arguably is top 3, top 4, whatever, they're 0.019. So it's like. I think you're right, Pete. There's like such a gap of after like that number 1 and number 2 that people just kind of like don't really know what they have or whatever. Especially if these people don't play fantasy football and they have these cards, and then there's like a cold streak of 2 weeks or whatever. They're like, why would I ever hold a Baltimore Ravens or whatever when Andrews hasn't done anything or something?
We are talking about the Owners Club, which is an NFT meets DFS game that why am I blanking on this? The Owners Club.
Own the moment.
I got Owners, the Owners Club. I was calling it Tournament of Champions. That the Owners Club, and it is something you can buy positional cards. So you can get quarterback for a team, running back, wide receiver, tight end, defense. You then submit. You can max up to 3 lineups in their main event contest. They have weekly prizes. They have a live final seat available for whoever gets at the top each week. And then also they have a side hustle contest where you can put 2 in. And so there's basically 2 ways to play it, like a DFS lineup way. And you can also play the market. You can buy and flip, try to get out ahead of trends with teams. So I see the answer. I have Chicago QB, and with the redheaded fella potentially out this week. Like we talked about this earlier, what does Sam Fran QB do if they sit him? So it's cool. The game theory is definitely fun. Yeah, and so Own the Moment in their Discord, they of course have their separate Owners Club Discord as well. In the Deposit Kingdom Discord, we have an Owners Club channel where we were talking strategy. So yeah, if you're interested, I've been having a lot of fun with it. Some nice utility there, using your moments to make money. Let's wrap this up. Let's open a pack here. I've been sitting on this pack.
Before you go full screen, I just want to make sure I'm getting questions about the Knights. So
do it.
Yeah, so Knights drop or pre-sale passes. You can mint your own Knight plus the 2 starting at midnight tonight, but it's open 48 hours. I'm getting questions about when's gas the cheapest. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure early morning is the agreed upon time. But you can check throughout the day. I think that's why we did it. And then after that, there will be a new OpenSea for the minted Knight. So right now we have the pre-sale OpenSea, which has like 215 plus Ethereum in volume. There'll be a brand new, everything will be in the Discord. Clay will be handling all of that stuff. And NFTs aren't dead because the Knights are alive.
Wow. It sounds like you've rehearsed that line in your sleep, Jack. Also, a little update for Justin here. If you're looking to get into TOC, they're going to be doing another drop soon. They didn't release the full supply yet. So check out the TOC website this week to make sure you are on the pre-order list. Very fun episode. Thank you again, John, for joining us tonight. Always great to get your TopShot insight. And we love you, Mike. even if you have a blind spot about the Bored Apes monster and other projects that are
Yeah,
I
Mike,
love
don't-
Bored Apes.
if you
I
can't
love
figure
Bored
out the
Apes.
narrative on Knights, you're gonna be booted.
I'm
off
a
the
Knights
show.
pass holder.
Thank you. Okay, perfect. Are you
Crap,
staying up?
guys.
Are you
I just
staying
checked
up?
Am I staying up till midnight? So Belair told me that it mints at midnight. I didn't actually know that.
Yeah.
But the whole point of
The whole point is you don't have to.
48 hours.
Yeah, but like, who's not gonna minute midnight when gas is obnoxiously higher than it will be in the morning? I'm obviously gonna do that.
I've set my
I'm
alarm
not.
for 4 a.m.
John, did you get one yet?
I need to. I have.
All right, here's the deal.
I'm not
Here's
a big
the deal.
NFT guy, man.
Listen, John, here's the deal.
Here's the
If
deal.
you get the night, you don't have to get the pre-sale pass, but just get a night, and you write something in the newsletter, I will read the first paragraph.
All right,
I will
all
make
right.
that promise. I
At least
can't
one
listen.
paragraph.
If I could promise more, I would do so, but I'll give you a full paragraph.
Yeah.
I would probably buy one on secondary. I feel like it's not the
Cool.
great play to buy the pass right now. So Pete,
Correct.
I just looked at my charts. I have the current EV of all the packs for S2, and this pack is current EV of 430.
Let's go, baby.
430.
You're rich. You're rich.
I
Wait,
am
can you just
already.
explain for the people what EV means?
Yeah,
Oh,
when
No, we're not doing that. We're dancing.
Restart it.
No, we're not explaining EV right now. Jimmy Butler.
looks
Nice.
rare. Looks rare.
Very rare. Almost the last minute.
Rare.
What?
Ooh.
Doug McDermott,
Doggy McBucket.
the pride of Creighton.
Look at that score. 152 to 95.
Come on, OKC. What are we doing there?
Well, otherwise, McDermott doesn't get minutes.
Oh, hey, don't flood my bags.
I like McDermott.
Ja?
Xavier.
This is Mike's next 40K rookie buy after
That's right.
Lamella.
Pump it.
Where did you go to college again?
Xavier.
Wait, Xavier, tell me what Xavier?
I actually think he did. Or am I making that up? Michigan State. I knew that. All right, here we go, baby.
Beverly
All right, guys.
scumbag.
Final moment. This is a walk-off moment. We will see you guys next Tuesday. Thank you to JonBoy Beats. Thank you to MBL. Thank you to Jack Settlement. The Knights of Degen Mint Pass drops here in about an hour. We will see you guys next Tuesday. Denver Nuggets, my team, a rare.
Yeah!
Maybe MVP badge. Maybe MVP badge.
Jokic.